Hi and good evening. My name is David, and tonight we're going to be playing a game of Good Society. Good Society is a game of kind of Regency era um, uh, uh, goings on based on sort of the works of Jane Austen and the like. It's by um, V. Hendra and Haley Gordon of Storybrewers Games. And if you want to learn more about the game, I'll put a link to the game itself down below. But this is now the penultimate game of our current run. So if you want to go back to the beginning, I talk in a bit more detail about it back then. This game is being run as part arranged to the Gauntlet, which is an online role-playing group. We have an online calendar where we kind of get together and run games like this and many others. If you're interested in finding more about that, then again, I'll put a link down below to the website, which is at gauntlet-rpg.com. We also have, as well as sort of the getting together for games, we also have podcasts. We have a monthly gaming magazine. We have forums, all that sort of stuff. So you can find out information on all of that down below. But yeah, with all that said and done, we will get into things. So first off, I'll just do the usual and get everyone to introduce themselves, introduce their characters, and tell us a little bit about what happened last time. So yeah, as ever, I'll just go through in Couch Keeper order. So starting off with yourself, please, Kieran.
Yes, you. God, the left of the character keeper gets me again. Let me just think. I'm Kieran Gillen, he, him, playing Eva Greenfield, she, her, the one noble child in the family of the Gracefields, who are this slightly questionable family of poets and various ne'er-do-wells. And my vague aim is to try to work out a way to inherit try to inherit and save the family fortune from my utterly useless brother Nathaniel. Problem being is I've actually got the evidence now that Nathaniel had a scurrilous affair whilst traveling Europe, but B, maybe I'm kind of getting soft on my brother. Like he's not a bad person. This would also, it would help me, but it would probably also hurt the family. So Eva's definitely torn between this. And at the same time, Cupid's arrow has struck her pretty hard with the delectable Isaac Arkwright, who's come to town and turned her head and left her monologuing to her peacock, which is not a euphemism, I swear. It's genuinely something that happens.
Excellent, thank you very much. And yeah, Anders, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about who you're playing.
Yeah, I'm Anders, he, him. I'm playing Nathaniel Gracefield, Eva's older brother, who has somehow tumbled into being sort of respectable, or at least attractive, I guess, to the marriable ladies. Last time, don't remember exactly what I did. I wrote a bunch of letters. Nathaniel has sort of started to become interested in Abigail Nash on an emotional level and not just trying to use her as a tool to reunite their families who are feuding because of Eva's not at all noble actions towards Lady Abigail's father. Yeah, I think that's highlights.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you very much. Yeah, and next is myself. So yeah, as I said, my name is David. I use he/him pronouns, and I am playing Isaac Arkwright, who also uses he/him pronouns. Isaac Arkwright is the son of a mill owner who has ridden on the Industrial Revolution to amass a fortune, affording his son a good education, and is now trying to build up the kind of social context to build their family name into a respectable one, which may well include finding an eligible wife, of whom there seem to be several prospects in our little village. So yeah, last time we saw Isaac, amidst some general again letter writing and so on, we saw Isaac meeting with his friend Lady Abigail, and talking through some of her issues, whilst also catching the eye of her cousin Tabitha, and engaging in some very artistically sweaty dueling practices with Lemster Marwood. So yeah, that was largely Isaac's schemes from last time. So yeah, last but not least, we unfortunately don't have the player of Lemster with us this evening, but David, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about who you'll be playing tonight.
Yep, I am David, he, him pronouns. I am playing Lady Abigail Nash. She's come a good ways since the beginning of this game. She's formerly been hell-bent on turning Eva Gracefield's connections against her in a form of revenge for the incarceration of Abigail's father, but she has since decided to try to dial back from that, focus on herself. She's found Nathaniel Gracefield, who she's developed a huge crush on, and why wouldn't she? He is a worldly, considerable, amiable young gentleman, and so hopefully things are kind of looking up for her. But what will happen when Abigail's father returns? What will happen if Nathaniel turns her down? Is it all going to fall apart? I don't know, but that's what we'll find out.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So yeah, where we left things last time, we had we stopped sort of with the just with our upkeep phase last time. So I'm just going to quickly refresh my memory and make sure that I haven't missed anything out. We finished up using our remaining monologue tokens. The next thing that we need to do, we all receive one resolve token. I don't think we did that last time, but if we did, it doesn't matter that much. We'll just have more shenanigans if we have extra resolve tokens, so that's all good. Mark one onto Lemster as well. So this is the first time we have been this is why I wanted to kind of skip this till this time. This is our first upkeep phase where we have active inner conflicts. So the way these work is we will quickly consult. There is just underneath where we have our reputation. There is we've all should have established our inner conflicts. These are, as we sort of mentioned before, kind of two separate poles that we'll be kind of looking at whether we've fulfilled actions on both sides of these. So, for example, for myself, I have got the poles of obligation versus freedom. But I'm going to in fact I will start off with myself. That's probably the easiest way to do it. So yeah, the idea here is that you'll see underneath the underneath where we've got the two poles written down, there is a list of like prompts of checks, of questions, however you want to think of them, with kind of a check mark on either side. So the idea is we kind of look at this these different things, these different aspects for each half of our inner conflict. We mark off any that we think we have hit. In general, these are like kind of escalating, so it's likely that we will hit the ones at the top before we hit the ones further down. I don't think it's necessarily I don't think you have to do them in order. That's my understanding anyway. But just through the nature of how they are, we probably will. And it's possible if you think that we've kind of done a couple of those, we can mark multiple. There's no limit to how many you can mark off, I don't think, at this stage. The other thing is we can mark them on both sides. If we ever accumulate 5 checks in total or completely fill up one side, which is 5 checks anyway, then that inner conflict is considered resolved, and we then do some additional stuff based on what has happened there. So I'm going to start with myself. So my 2 poles are obligation and freedom. The different prompts for this are: you took action in pursuit of this, you sacrificed something important to you for this, you hurt or pushed away someone important to you for this, you degraded your reputation or went against your conscience for this, or your actions in pursuit of this side destroyed your chance of successfully pursuing the other. So as I said, they clearly kind of increase in intensity. I feel like I have taken some action in pursuit of my obligations to my family. I haven't like pushed any romantic proposals especially hard so far, but I have I think kind of put myself in the position to do so. So I think that probably counts enough for that on the side of obligation. Likewise, I also think that I have kind of started pursuing my drive to freedom with sort of spending time with known ne'er-do-well Lempster Marwood. So I think I'm also going to mark the first tick in that box as well. Oh, that's the other. Sorry, no, I think maybe I'll double check on that. But yeah, we also gain each time you mark one of these boxes. You also gain a resolve token. So feel free to add those as you do it. So yeah, next I'm going to come around to I'll come around to Lady Abigail. So yeah, your polls are revenge versus connectedness. How do you think you have done with your inner conflict here?
I mean, the last time we were here, I was firmly on the revenge side, as reflected by a whole smorgasbord of negative tags. I think this time around, Abigail is at least making an effort to turn over a new leaf. So do I just go down the list? There are 5 kind of prompts here, and I just check the box if one applies.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
I think trying to smooth things over with Tabitha as action in pursuit of connectedness.
Yeah.
I think I'm beginning to sacrifice something important in favor of connectedness.
I would say you're kind of, I think definitely after the conversation our characters had last time, it definitely felt like you were kind of putting that thirst for revenge aside. So yeah, I'd agree. I think that's probably counts for that side.
Okay. Now the next 2 I don't think apply either way. I don't think I've hurt or pushed away anybody important in the last cycle, nor do I think I've degraded my reputation or gone against my conscience.
Yep, I'd agree as well. I don't feel like we've hit any of those super dramatic points quite yet. Maybe we will see some of that tonight.
And the very last one, I don't think we're there yet either. I don't think I've completely destroyed my chance of pursuing any particular route.
Yeah,
so we'll just stop with those 2.
Yep, no, that sounds great. So again, you'll gain two resolve tokens for that. I'm actually just going to very quickly double check. It's not super important, but I just want to get it for my own right, yeah, that's it. So you can mark as many boxes as you have completed. That is obviously just a pure fictional thing. It's just you cannot gain more than two resolve tokens for that. So that's it. I thought that was the case, but yeah, that's cool. So
we get 2 resolve tokens.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yes, so I'll come back around to Eva and your polls of their happiness versus her happiness.
My major urge is just like I probably double tick the first one. Like, I mean, Eva's doing a lot of very basic, that's kind of her major thing, but she's definitely done things now for her happiness. Yeah. And she had it's more like if she did anything with that letter, that's when it starts becoming interesting. Like at the moment, yes, she's took actions to sort of, and even like getting pining over Isaac even counts as actually. Yeah. So when Nathaniel wrote, Nathaniel mentioned it in a letter. So I think a tick for both of the basic ones is enough.
Yep, that sounds good to me as well. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Finally, Nathaniel, your poles of honesty versus propriety.
Yeah, I feel like I've taken action in pursuit of propriety. I've tried to smooth over the mess with my father's poetry recital and the fight and all that sort of thing. So that one seems reasonable. Sacrifice something important. I'm not sure. I burned the letters from Lemster, and that feels like something that was valuable to
absolutely,
Nathaniel.
Yeah. No, that certainly feels like it to me.
Yeah. I don't think I've hurt or pushed anyone, not anyone important. We just have our usual family squabbles. Degraded reputation went against the conscience. No, I don't think so. Destroyed your chance. No. And honesty, I don't think I've done anything there.
Yeah. I don't think that you've been like deceitful, but I also don't think that you've like gone out of your way to.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't admitted to doing anything wrong or tried to clear up anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
That's 2 tokens. I have so many tokens.
Yes.
I need to read the reference, see what I can use them for.
Awesome. So I think I'm just going to double check that I've not missed anything. The last option that we have as well is if anyone wants to replace their desire because they feel like their current one is played out, we can do so. But I'll leave that. If anyone does want to, feel free to shout out, and I'll go through what we need to do. But otherwise, we'll kind of carry on. I certainly I'm kind of content with my desire still. So. But yeah, if anyone does want to change that, do speak up. The last thing is we would be doing any expanded backstory actions, but that only happens once we complete our inner conflict. So we probably won't see that right now. Maybe next time if things get more dramatic, we will see. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this cycle and the beginning of our third cycle. So as ever, our cycle begins with a new novel chapter, and I will ask our kind of standard question for these things, which is: do people feel like something that's more of an event scene, something with the kind of lots of characters involved, or some more visitation scenes, just some sort of slightly smaller scale conversational type scenes? Does anyone have any initial thoughts on that? And if you're thinking about an event scene, what sort of event you would like to see?
Can I float something? As in, what we're going to do with that Lemster is incommunicado? Because I remember that pretty much the last thing I did was have Brutus write him a letter challenging him to a duel. So it's kind of like are we just going to sort of, I mean, if it was a traditional game, I would suggest something like, literally that's the mystery. No one knows what's happened to Lemster. He's just incommunicado for a while, and that becomes dramatic when he returns. But I'm not sure if that's kind of the sort of thing we would do in this.
That does sound good. Actually, I'm just remembering, Robbie sent me a quick email. I think that sounds good. Maybe Lemster is missing, and no one's quite sure why.
I love that.
Exactly.
It's worrying.
He's been called away. and he received a letter, and then he can explain when he comes back.
The occult brotherhood.
But his valet will be saying that the master is not available for to receive guests currently.
I was thinking of sort of the pacing, because this is our second to last session, right? Next time is the last time.
That's correct. Yep.
And it feels like we should have a big event for the last session, maybe, or either that or we want to have a big event now and have like minor scenes for the ending. But I feel like it's better if Robbie is here for the big event.
Yeah, that is fair. I mean, yeah, we don't have to have even if we have an event, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a hugely momentous occasion, but it's certainly something would be cool. But yeah, no, that's but that is a fair thing. And I think as well, we'll see how it goes. And I mean, I don't want to rush stuff, but it would be cool if we could kind of conclude a whole cycle this time, just for neatness, largely. We'll probably go a little bit quicker because obviously this is one of those games where the more people you have playing it, the longer it takes to play. So I don't think that's a too ambitious goal to set ourselves. But that said, I am wittering away. So does anyone have any strong thoughts on what they would like to see at the beginning?
It doesn't have to be at the beginning necessarily, but I do like the event scenes. I thought the poetry reading from the last time or two ago was fantastic. It doesn't have to be some kind of climactic, hugely plot relevant thing, but I like getting a lot of people together and just seeing what the heck happens.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of erring towards maybe starting off with, again, one of those sort of events type scenes. I feel, like I said, unless there's any particularly like intimate scenes people want to have with one another, but even then we can still have those in the event scene. There's more chance of being overheard, which is in many ways to the good. So I'm good with starting off with an event. Maybe it is just something as simple as a I guess I'll probably throw this over actually to Lady Abigail. Do you think that either you or your aunt would maybe be throwing some sort of society engagement, or we could possibly take this to like a more like kind of the assembly rooms or a sort of a more public forum?
Yeah, I mean, garden parties. We haven't had a garden party yet, as far as I know, and it's just not Jane Austen if you don't have a garden party at some point.
Yeah,
so
that sounds good.
A fine summer's garden party would be good, or a picnic out on the moors, are all good options. What occasion would call for those? You don't really need an excuse, but
exactly.
I've just had the image of a kite flying day or something. I've just got the image of everyone standing on the field flying kites. And I'm not for any particular reason. I just think that's just a pretty image in a Jane Austen-y way. Not that I've ever seen it in a Jane Austen book, but like, I throw that because it was suddenly my subconscious has gone there.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I'm all for that.
It's the fashion this year.
Yeah, so that sounds nice. A kind of picnic and kites in sort of the the parkland, of that sounds nice. So yeah, that sounds good. So, and I will come back to you, Lady Abigail. But do you think there is a particular inspiration for this, or is it purely just a kind of it's our turn to do a thing, and so therefore we are?
I mean, this isn't really an occasion so much as a motivation, but I could see a scenario in which Florence, who granted Robbie is the one technically in control of Florence, but I could see a situation in which Florence becomes so perturbed by the threat that Lady Abigail poses to her that he poses to the Honeyfield family's reputation, that she's throwing this garden party almost in kind of an effort to be like, look, guys, we're still good. We're still fun to be around. We're still reputable. Ignore the girl over here. Like, look at us. Like, basically, it's not really for an occasion so much as just a last-ditch effort to try to salvage some reputation after the minor scandals that Abigail has wrought on the Honeyfield family in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah, so I think it's a nice summer's day. There is a bit of a breeze, enough to keep everyone cool, and also obviously to allow for the flying of kites. There will be kind of food in wicker baskets and all that sort of general picnicky stuff going on. You know, lashings of ginger beer, and I think Isaac will make his appearance, and I think, you know, he's probably wearing one of those kind of quite you know, light coloured canvas suits, not quite like the candy stripe sort of thing, but but that sort of style. I'm not sure if those are perhaps a little bit late for our setting, but you know, close enough. Straw boater, all of that, and will you know, upon arrival, will obviously make himself known to Honeyfields, and to Lady Abigail, and say, a lovely day for it. It is nice to get out and enjoy the fresh air.
Of course, a pleasure to see you, Mr. Arkwright. Please come inside if you have anything you'd like to drop off at the door. But I think we'll be spending the majority of the afternoon out on the hills overlooking the estate.
Perfect. That should be fine. I travel fairly light, hills of Smile, and so I should be well provisioned to set out.
Can I spend a resolve token just because I think it's a cool feature to introduce? I don't know that it'll come into play, but can we say that there's a hedge maze somewhere on the grounds of the Honeyfield estate?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just feel like that has potential for trouble.
Yep, perfect.
As for me, I am really making efforts to try to, despite the fact it's not really even my house, or even really my family, I'm trying to play hostess at the door, and try to personally welcome everyone who comes by, not because I'm deeply invested in all of this going well, but just because I want to come across as amiable and polite and easy to get along with as possible, you know, given all that's happened. So that's what I will be doing, is kind of welcoming people at the door and directing them here and there as things progress.
Awesome.
I have kind of a question about customs here, because since Nathaniel is starting to get interested in Abigail, but her father is not here for various reasons that are sensitive to talk about, who would he inquire to about her possible availability for an engagement? Would it be Florence, or would he speak to her directly, or?
Yeah, it would probably be Florence. I think that sounds the most likely thing here. Florence would be, in effect, acting as a guardian. I think it would probably be fair to because obviously we don't have Robbie here who is playing Florence,
Yeah.
but because they're a secondary character, I think it's fair if you just want to kind of maybe give a token to Florence to say that you've kind of already done the formal part of going to them and making your intentions known, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I don't want to play out the scene with when the player isn't here, but I felt like spending a token seemed like a reasonable way to do it. So I think what Nathaniel has done is maybe he's, because he has written a letter to Florence before. He's written a letter to inquire. Maybe had a short visit with her to make his interest known and inquire in that very polite sort of way if Lady Nash has had any other gentleman showing interest in a possible proposal. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Yeah. It's whether or not your suit will be accepted and so on and so forth is obviously still up in the air, but you've gone through all the necessary procedures to do it the right way, sort of thing. So yeah, that's cool.
Cool. I will give Florence token. I think at the event itself, Nathaniel is, since he is worldly, he'll be dressed reasonably appropriately, but probably a bit more flashy than is entirely suitable for the kind of activities that are expected. Bit more silk than canvas, perhaps.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think, will we arrive together, you and me, Eva?
I think it's always unlikely I would be here. Like, that's the kind of thing. And I almost get the idea that I would only be, I see myself sort of coming because I've heard that Isaac might be here. I think that's the only reason I might be here. And I certainly wouldn't be a welcome guest, would I? So that's my kind of like the tension. I'm okay with Eva sitting out this scene, but I sort of do get the feeling that like it wouldn't necessarily be the done thing for Eva to sort of be there.
It could be. If the Honeyfields has sent an invitation, they probably can't not invite our family, but that doesn't mean that you would be particularly welcome, but that doesn't stop you from coming if you really want to. So
nothing stops me from coming. It's the level of like juggernaut will kick it. But yeah, I could see that. In which case, yes, I will turn up with Nathaniel, definitely. I think Eva would. And I think I've got a kite larger than I am, because I'm quite a short person anyway. But I've stayed up all night working very hard on this kite. And it's got peacock feathers in its tail.
Very nice. I'm not sure Nathaniel knows how to make a kite. He's probably had someone make it for him.
Yes, me. I think the assumption is I've made a second kite for you. This is the image I get is Eva going, you look like a kite with what you're wearing, with all the silken finery. This is most.
I just want to can't look like a shabby nobody, and looks over at Isaac.
Just saying. Like, looking like a shabby nobody is among the many things you're not good at, Nathaniel.
Yes, and you should thank me for it.
Oh, I didn't think kite flying was your sort of thing. Why are you here?
Well, I'm just trying to clean up your mess and make sure our families can get along.
Why can't our families get along? But justice has been served, and surely that makes the land all the better.
Well, not everyone sees it that way.
God above sees it that way.
I'm sure you will find differing interpretations of that as well. But I see the Reverend Collingwood is here. Why don't you go ask him if having your best friend's father transported is God's will, in accordance with God's will?
I almost blurt out. In fact, I'm going to blurt out. Actually, do you mind if I actually spend a token? Because this is actually almost. I'm not sure who. Maybe I give this to Collingwood. And actually, David, are you okay with this?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
I'll say what I'm going to say. What I want to blurt out is, but the Reverend told the Reverend was the person who told me to report them. Because like the report, we've always had the Reverend like trying to encourage me to sort of disinherit you. So like I just suddenly had the idea of maybe he's the person who sort of, he was the person who I opened my heart to, and he said definitely do it. Are you up for that, David? Or
oh, that's fine. Oh, this poor Reverend, we're just putting him through the ringer.
Someone's got to be the villain. So I'll spend my resolve token and give it to the Reverend, and I'll blurt out. But obviously, I talked to my Reverend before reporting him. Like, what sort of good Christian do you think I am? Though now you mention it, I will check whether flying such a scandalous kite is actually somehow offensive anyway. Excuse me, brother.
I think the Reverend is like halfway into a drink of ginger beer and does the whole thing as he overhears this from the other side of the room.
Like, is anyone? Like, I've got something I want to talk to the Reverend about, but it's like if another scene someone wants to pick up, or
no, I'm good if you want to go ahead with that. That's fine by me.
They were Eva creepy up, and Eva actually genuinely speaks it low, and you sort of tell that Eva's actually not just being the cannonball at the moment, but very much like the letter I wrote you, Reverend. Have you had time to read it? And she sort of recapitulates that scandalous evidence I found about my brother's activity. It would bring ruin to my entire family if I used it, or no matter if I would put in a better position. I cannot understand what I should possibly do, Father. Perhaps not here, but I definitely need your advice at some point.
He's looking about in a state of utter alarm, trying to suss out if anybody overheard what was said. Yes, but perhaps not in the middle of in the middle of mixed company such as this. This is a more private matter. Perhaps if you would attend to whatever affairs you wish to attend to here, and then meet me outside, perhaps out on the hills or the moors or something like that. Certainly,
I brought my copy of the some of the evidence with me if we ever need to actually reveal it. I gestured to the voluminous clothes I'm wearing, just hidden quite carefully.
Well, a public reveal of such evidence treads the line close to gossip. It's a most unchristian thing to do. I think we could best review this in private at first, and then choose our course from that point.
Certainly, I was only bringing it to possibly give to you and see what you thought of it. So I obviously wouldn't think about doing anything here. I'm a member of this family, but I'm not one of the family.
Of course. Well, I mean, if it is urgent, then please, we will. And he kind of looks about. It will just be a moment, won't it? We can just step out this way.
Yeah, thank you, Father.
Certainly. And you guys will head to a more private location, probably out on some hillside overlooking the estate or near the Hedge Maze or something to that effect.
I almost think we don't need to define the evidence yet. I always sort of see it as like me just sort of showing the letters, because we haven't even defined what actually happened yet. Mm-hmm. So like, just Father, please read this. I'm not sure what to do, or what one good Christian soul can do against such sins. I fear we'd be all struck down and turned to pillars of salt.
And to clarify, out of game, the letters boil down to are these the letters regarding the return?
No. These are the letters involving Nathaniel's affairs with men on the continent.
That's it. Yeah. I got it mixed up in my head.
But of course, the father's return. He's in the village now, isn't he? So that's the other thing that's sitting on the mantelpiece waiting to explode. Somebody.
Okay, so this is looking at the Nathaniel / Leinster.
Yeah.
Relationship, if I recall. Okay, I just want to make sure I had it straight in my head.
Strictly speaking, it probably refers to that. We haven't actually said it definitely refers to that, as it could be other stuff as well, but it probably refers to Leinster. But same as Nathaniel has that, and as Nathaniel have it as well. So like it's up in the air of actually what it says or what is revealed.
There were also the rumors that Nathaniel was married in France and something happened to his wife that nobody knows about. And I think there's been some talk about him being involved in something occult or otherwise inappropriate with also in connection with Leinster and his family. So there are many things to choose from.
Got it. Well, I mean, and we have that on the rumor and scandal page as well that has spread. So what we might want to do then is, I think that the Reverend will say, well, you being so close with Nathaniel and I having some moral obligation to him, I think we had best sit with him this evening and discuss this openly and clearly. This needs to be brought out into the light. These sorts of secrets are like mold, they are like fungus, they grow in the dark. So we need to bring these out into the light. If we can perhaps pull him away from whatever he intends to be doing this evening and sit down with him, I think that would be the approach to take. And out of character, that would, I suspect, involve pulling Nathaniel away from Abigail or something like that. It's a very inconvenient timing.
That's it. Just out of game. Also, what's the Reverend's aim with this? Like, is it kind of like?
Well, I think he wants to just get his information straight, and instead of wringing his hands anxiously in speculation, instead saying, "Look, are these accusations true? If so, then what are we going to do about this?" That kind of thing. But he just needs to bring it to attention. Does that sound reasonable to everybody?
Yeah, I mean, the Reverend is worried about his higher-ups being unhappy with what's going on in the village, so maybe he doesn't want another huge scandal without being able to definitely say that it wasn't his fault that it happened.
Right. So I think that the Reverend is going to bid you farewell. He says this with a bit of concern in his voice, but he'll say, "Have a good afternoon," kind of knowing that that's not very possible at the moment. And he will proceed to pace anxiously about the estate, not really talking to anybody, not really doing anything in particular, but really just kind of steeling himself for the future.
Awesome. Yeah, so I was just wondering, actually, just because we've not had like a huge amount of interaction, that maybe Isaac and Nathaniel just kind of end up, coming together in that like kind of awkward mingling before we head out with the kites, I think Isaac will kind of give a short bow and say, Mr. Gracefield, it's good to see you again. I can only apologize for the disruption at your father's soiree the other evening.
That blame can hardly be laid at your feet, Mr. Arkwright. I fear it was our mutual acquaintance, Lord Marwood and Lord Davenport, who were the cause of that disruption.
Well, quite so, as you say. I think they well, let matters get somewhat out of hand, but I'm sure there will be no lasting ill will over it.
I wouldn't be so sure. Lempster has, or Lord Marwood, I should say, has a bit of a temperament, as maybe you have found out yourself. I hear that you have been spending some time with him.
Yes, but he has been nothing but kind to me. I have I have seen no evidence of a cruel temper upon him.
No, I've never known him to be cruel, but he can be. Can get fired up when he feels he is being treated unjustly. But I suppose you get along well with him.
Yes, he's he's proven a good friend. We knew each other vaguely from school, but it has been good to become reacquainted with him.
Yes, he is for the most part, he's a very kind and generous soul. But
I would agree wholeheartedly. He has shown me a lot of kindness since I've arrived here.
Yeah, you may want to be cautious about how your relationship is perceived, as it appears some have interpreted your interactions as being perhaps a bit too friendly.
I see. Well, then I suppose I ought to exercise some caution, but I can assure you that well, not that I would need to assure you, but that any such rumors would be entirely baseless.
Of course. I have been the target of similar rumors myself, however, and I would not want you to be besmirched in the same way that I have been.
There will always be idle chatter, I fear, but well, one there is only so much one can do about it. But thank you for bringing those concerns to me.
Yes, well, living with my sister, I get a lot of that idle chatter.
Indeed, Miss Gracefield certainly seems a lively character.
That's a kind way to describe her. but enough about her. How are you? How are you finding your place here in the village? Are you?
Yes, it's been most pleasant to get away into the countryside for a while. I've enjoyed it greatly. I have no doubt I will soon be returning to London, but it has been nice to have a break and to spend time with such fine company as you have here.
You are much too kind, Mr. Arkwright. I have an inquiry of perhaps more private nature. I have, unless I have misunderstood, I think you are old friends with Lady Nash, or hostess.
Yes, indeed. We have been friends for some years.
Is it possible that you could pass word to her that I would like to have a private moment with her somewhere, sometime during this event?
Ah, I see. I shall have words with her, of course, Mr. Gracefield.
I would be in your debt, Mr. Arkwright.
Thank you. That's quite right.
Yeah, I think that's it. Unless there was something else.
No, that's good with me.
Yeah, cool.
Just to complicate things, we can do or not do anything with this, but is there a place to spend a resolve token such that Tabitha might also be interested in Nathaniel?
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you wanted to spend that resolve token, yeah, you absolutely could. It doesn't have to be kind of in reaction to something that you're doing as a player per se. So yeah, no, you go ahead if you wish.
I think that Anders, you're the one in charge of Tabby, I want to say. So
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
Just something to do. Okay, so would I pass that resolve token from Abigail to Tabitha?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, I just thought I might as well. They may or may not come back, but I've got a lot of resolve tokens to burn, so
yeah.
Why not?
Tabitha has a flighty heart, I think. I think she was interested in Isaac last session, but
there's no reason she can't like both.
Absolutely. I will add a token to Tabitha.
Awesome. So yeah, I guess I was just wondering. No, I think that Isaac will find a moment to pass the message on to Lady Abigail. I was considering offering a token there to have Isaac just have been blatantly lying, but no, I think he is actually going to do that and let Lady Abigail know that yeah, Nathaniel wishes to speak with her. So I guess Oh, actually, first, it's probably a good point for us to take a quick break. So yeah, we'll take a quick break here now, and then come back at 1:45. We'll catch up if there's any more scenes that we want to have as part of this event. I mean, I think for start, we probably want to have a scene between Nathaniel and Lady Abigail, but well, you can see if there's anything else we want to do as well. But yeah, I think if we say come back at 1:15, and we'll pick things up there. 1:45. Awesome. So yeah, I think if the two of you are cool with that, I'd quite like to see that scene between Nathaniel and Abigail once we're kind of out on the moors, maybe with the flying kites and the like.
Yeah, probably like maybe a walk, just watching the kites. That sort of thing. I mean, they can't possibly be alone together. That would be terribly inappropriate. But you know, it can be some ways away from other people, even if they're still in view. If that works.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Yeah. So I think Nathaniel seeks out Lady Abigail and Lady Nash. Did Mr. Arkwright convey my message?
To clarify the message, it wasn't Isaac, was it a message to get the sense of my availability?
I think it would. I would have just said, yeah, kind of. Nathaniel would like to speak with you.
That was it, yeah.
You know, kind of. You know, well, I probably won't have quite used the word alone, but you know.
Mm-hmm. Abigail has spent the better part of the afternoon mentally preparing herself for this meeting, so she's coming across in a very practiced and composed manner. Of course, Isaac, let me know that you wish to speak. Come, shall we take a stroll somewhere while we talk?
Yes, of course. And I think Nathaniel is a bit. He's not his usual laid back self. He's actually a bit nervous. Yes, please, if you would lead the way. You know the grounds here better than I do.
Have you taken a stroll through the Hedge Maze quite yet?
No, I have not.
You must try it. It's said that there is a nice garden in the middle, but I can't speak as to how well tended it is. It's rather hard to reach.
Yes, that sounds like it would be part of the appeal, I assume.
So I suppose we'll enter this Hedge Maze, and it occurs to Abigail immediately that this may not have been the most romantic choice because this requires a bit more thought than like it's really more of a distraction from anything. This is really actually not very romantic at all, but she can't back out now, and quite frankly, she's lost as it is. So she's going to try to make do with blunder number one.
Yeah, and I think Nathaniel will just take turns at random. He's not trying to go anywhere in particular, so he'll probably get very lost. Yes, I'm sure Florence has let you know that I have made some inquiries as to your, I don't know what you'd say, availability, or I don't know what the appropriate word would be.
Availability, Mr. Gracefield?
Oh, sorry, that was out of character. I don't know what.
I mean, obviously, I mean, Abigail is not married or betrothed to anybody, but
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. If you were, I made some inquiries to your Aunt Florence if you were presently engaged or if any other gentlemen were showing a more close interest in your future.
Oh, why, Mr. Gracefield, you embarrass me. Well, you know, I've had a number of close male companions, Isaac and so on, but they've always been good childhood friends, and I have not yet been engaged. As a matter of fact, I've never even received much of a proposal, despite my father's wishes for me to, well, to become engaged.
Oh, I must say I find that surprising, but no matter. I feel a certain connection with you, and I don't think it's a secret that I would wish to mend the rift between our two families. However, I feel that before I go any further down this path, I will have to make known some things to you that may otherwise that may incline you to deny any such requests as I might otherwise make.
I can't imagine what you might possibly say that would deter any young lady of marriable age's affections. What is it? And I think that she's kind of like stopped walking, and now we're just kind of surrounded by this labyrinthine mess of vines and hedges, and it's actually a bit of a kind of primal sort of feel. It's very wilderness, despite the fact that it's this curated hedge maze.
Yeah, a bit dark and shadowy as well, probably. There are I have done things that are not within the bounds of propriety. Mostly when I was younger on the continent, but there is the possibility that these things will come to light and come back to haunt me even now. And I would want, before I go any further, I would want you to be prepared for any such eventualities.
Why, Mr. Gracefield, aside from having seen you play rather overambitiously with your rooks in the game of chess, I've never heard of any such impropriety from you. What could possibly have happened?
I think this is. I think we'll sort of zoom out, and we don't hear exactly what maybe, since we haven't specified exactly what's happened and that sort of thing. I think we zoom out and we just see Nathaniel speaking and explaining things, and probably he will not go into detail, but I think he will at least admit to his affair with Lempster, and
I almost kind of want to leave that on a cliffhanger, and
Yeah.
I would actively offer a token to not show your response is next thing we see is you running out of there. And just a bit, I think, I'm not saying you're positive or negative, but there's the level of shock to it. And that is actually, it's a romantic comedy. I'm just trying to like things in the way of it, I guess. As in like her response being quite strong and leaving it and leaves it like, maybe Abigail regrets reacting that strongly and Nathaniel can now interact it. But, her running from the maze is the thing I'm pitching you. You cannot,
perhaps perhaps it's about that time that the Reverend and Ava are kind of looking for Nathaniel and they just hear this like scream from the maze.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'm fine with that being the case. Lady Abigail will, I mean, the humorous thing is it's a maze, so she spends quite a lot of time screaming and running in circles and so forth before she's able to actually make her dramatic exit. But that might be what happens.
So I've removed a token, so you get one, yeah? Great.
That's fine. I feel so bad for Nathaniel.
No, it's fine.
He's
This
a
is
good
great.
guy.
We have one more episode to make everyone happily married. That's the
Fair.
that's always the thing we got to pull together for. True love will find a way.
Yeah, so I assume Nathaniel after a while also finds his way out of the maze to be apprehended by Eva and the Reverend.
I almost want to, just for the sake of time, to resolve a lot of the Reverend's instructing and scolding. I almost want to put that in the epistolary phase. For time's sake, and also because I think the Reverend might be the sort of person to be far too uncomfortable to have this kind of conversation in person. So if that's okay, I'm okay with closing things there. But if anybody has anything they'd like to say, then that's fine with me too.
Sounds good to me. We can just assume that they had the conversation.
I have a couple of things. Not that they're literally just beats though. As in, I'm pitching someone spending my distractible tag because I only really came here to talk to Isaac. And I completely failed to speak to Isaac. I've just got the image of me becoming obsessed with kite flying. And like literally, like I was trying to like, I came here for Isaac and now I'm just like really obsessed with the perfection of flying this kite. And of course entirely has missed up the point of her doing anything, if anyone's okay with that.
Yeah, no, that sounds cool. The other thing I was going to say was, I was going to ask if you wanted to have a scene with Ava and Isaac, but that sounds perfect. So
I really do like a scene because, but at the same time, I don't think now. I think we should move on, and it's funnier.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, I like it.
And that gives me a token which I would like to spend, offering it to Anders to. I lose my letter in the maze.
Yeah.
As an actually, I was going to so when we actually have the meeting, I don't have the letter. And there's a moment of like horror that it's out there and who knows could possibly find it.
I think how would this work? Like I'm spending your negative reputation. I think you should get the token because you're the one who's
no. Yeah, but you're in a worse position though. Like it doesn't affect me at all. It makes you worse. Like someone else could find that letter and then use it. Like it doesn't affect my position.
Yeah, right. It was a copy. It was a copy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure, I'll take a token.
Cool.
Awesome.
So I've got a list of people who could find it because we must remember Montgomery is angry with you. There's all manner of people who might be pissed off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm going to feel
Tabitha
terrible.
could find it, and maybe she could even read it. Who knows?
Please don't be crazy.
Awesome. So yeah, I think with that we will leave our novel phase there and move on to the next step, which is our reputation first. So we'll just probably go through this one fairly quickly because we've done this a few times now. I think we're all fairly familiar with our reputation triggers and how they work. So yeah, I will start. I'll start off with with Ava, do you feel like you have gained or lost? Sorry, not gained or lost. Do you feel like you have gained any positive or negative reputation tags as a result of that scene?
I also off the top of my head, I don't think I have actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really see any.
I tend to agree. I think nothing that you did there felt like it was particularly one way or the other.
Yeah. Cool.
So Nathaniel, how about yourself? Do you feel like you've gained positive or negative reputation from that scene?
I think maybe both. Because I admitted to doing terrible things, but I also, I mean, telling Abigail about it was kind of a sacrifice in order to try to be more appropriate. I'm not sure if that works.
Yeah, I think that sounds fair. I think I'm just wondering, does it?
I'm not sure if it.
I feel like it's probably positive because I think you are potentially sacrificing something that you desire to do what you feel is morally right. So that feels like positive to me.
Okay.
The things that you've done, yeah, obviously, but that would potentially be a negative thing. But that is also something that has already happened. That wasn't something that was,
True.
Whereas I think, yeah, like say if you'd done a scene of you like burning the letters and stuff, that might have been the other way around,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think like I said, I think I think that feels like positive to me. Cool. So as for myself, I think I feel like I might have hit a positive tag for agreeing to like make the introduction between Nathaniel and Abigail, despite the fact that I think, as I mentioned last time, I think probably Isaac does still have some feelings, of matrimony, shall we say, towards Abigail. So I think that's probably a positive reputation there as well for acting in the service of duty in compromise to my desires. And I will pick a tag for that. And then Abigail, do you feel like you hit any of your positive or negative reputation tags there?
I don't think so. I'm willing to hear arguments to the contrary, but I think that I didn't really compromise myself in the service of duty or morality, nor did I compromise anything else in the service of selfish desire. I think it was played pretty much straight.
Yep, that sounds good to me. Cool. So yeah, we will then go into our gossip phase. So this will be the usual thing. We'll go left to right and then back the other way, either creating a new rumor or spreading an existing one. So we, if I'm just can I put a line through those as well? No, I can't. It doesn't show up. So yeah, at the minute, all the rumors that we have on the table are spread or finished. So Ava, it'll be up to you to create our first rumor for this round.
Abigail Nash, Lady Abigail Nash despite living in a place with a garden maze, is incredibly bad at garden mazes. She was heard screaming whilst trying to work their way through it. She was that frustrated. The dizzy young thing, or something like, you know what I mean? Abigail Nash is a dizzy young thing who cannot handle mazes.
Nice. So yeah, Nathaniel, again, it will be up to you to either create a new rumor or spread that rumor that that has just been created.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I want to have a rumor that Eva Gracefield's kite was terribly ostentatious and gosh, peacock feathers. I mean, you have to that just it's just a bit too much.
Excellent. I will go next, and I am going to go with the rumor that I'm going to go for the rumor that Nathaniel. Oops, I'm tapping in the wrong box. That Nathaniel made an improper advance in the garden maze, in the hedge maze. So yeah, Abigail, it will be you will get to go twice in a row. You can either spread a rumor that's already been created, create a new one, and or both.
I almost I feel very uncreative for not generating new rumors, but I almost want to spread the first one and the last one. If we get the reputation that Abigail is this dizzy young thing who can't handle a maze, that gives her something to kind of fight against in terms of her reputation. It gives her a reason to be especially confident as a way of dispelling that notion. And I just kind of like the idea of, if it isn't too sadistic, Nathaniel, who is this like objectively good guy, getting this negative reputation. I mean, and it really does look bad. Like they go in there together and she screams and runs out. I mean, just you know. So I mean, I'm okay with spreading both of those if that's okay with folks.
Yeah, no, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
So it's back to me. So I am going to create a new one, which is to say, a mysterious figure has been seen stalking the moors. What does he want?
Yeah, that's good. Think Reverend. Actually, I just spread that one. I really liked it.
Cool. So yeah, and then Ava, we're back around to you. So you can again, you can either spread the last remaining rumor that has not yet been spread, or create one of your own. If you do that, obviously both will be marked as fading, but they will still be available to be picked next time.
I'm going to make a new rumor anyway in this kind of, because I feel that we should at least remember Leinster when Leinster is away. Leinster has disappeared to start a Satanist, a European Satanist club, and important. It's all like, but he's gone away on Satanist business to start a new Hellfire club.
Excellent. Yeah. Cool. So that is, we will then mark those two rumors as fading, but they are still they will still be available to be picked next Cool. So that is the rumors phase. And that means that we are now on to our first epistolary phase. As ever, we get the opportunity to write some letters, to have a weather interlude, to have a strange dream, or anything of the like. Does anyone have an idea for a scene that they would like to kick off with?
I have an idea for a letter from Tabitha to Isaac.
Cool.
Dearest Mr. Arkwright, I have been using our Latin dictionary in an attempt to decode the book I had when you were visiting the other day, and I can't make heads or tails of any of it. But perhaps you could visit someday, or I could visit with you, and you could assist me in help me to understand the contents. Yes, your Tabitha.
Awesome. Actually, I think I will. On the heels of that, I think I will compose a letter to Lady Abigail, and I think it will begin. Lady Abigail, I am sorry to have seen you seem to have been in some distress the other day. I hope all is well. I did not wish to press too far on the day, but if you do have, if there is anything with which I may assist you, I would, of course, as ever, be happy to do so. I do hope that I did not put you in an awkward position with regards Mr. Gracefield. I can assure you, I had no apprehension that there would be anything untoward in his intentions towards you, and I hope such was not the case. But if I have aided in any distress to you, please do accept my apologies. Yours as ever, Isaac. P.S. Tabitha's zeal for languages is to be greatly appreciated. However, I feel like she has interest in certain works that would be inappropriate for me to discuss with her. The contents of such may be a little unsuitable for mixed company. It might be best that you mention this to your dear aunt.
Love it. I can get kind of the requisite letter from the Reverend to Nathaniel, kind of out of the way. I think people can more or less guess what the contents are going to look like, but in so many words, he's going to say, Nathaniel, it is imperative, underlined, that we speak immediately about the rumors that have circulated regarding your barbarous advances toward Lady Abigail Nash, particularly in light of your family's already struggling reputation. I must say, I am most disappointed, and I have not seen such rustic, barbarous behavior since the colonies declared independence. You must seek me at the church at once. Your family is very concerned about you, as am I, not only in terms of your reputation, but in terms of the damnation of your very soul. Yours, Reverend Collingwood.
So I'm just looking at my characters and seeing what I've got to do. So I feel slightly at an impasse. Well, I'll just do the opposite. Do you mind if I pitch that Modesty is the person who finds the letter? Great. In which case, I'll spend Modesty's last token and give it over to give it to Nathaniel. To see if we can actually break the number of tokens that Nathaniel has.
Yeah, I have to figure out something. You keep giving me tokens for complications I really like, so it's hard to say no.
I think that's part of the fun. You want people to definitely take the token. So I'm fascinated by the token economy here. Anyway, the letter is from Modesty. Nathaniel, it's been so while since you've written to me. Some people will be hurt. And I'm sad to inform you that I might be among one of those people. I was perambulating around the maze as your very young friend. And I found the most interesting letter when I was traveling, describing such interesting adventures on the continent. And it would be terrible that this such thing came to light. I think it's very important to have a wife who can keep such secrets. And I think, of course, as the most eligible bachelor, you should be thinking more carefully about a woman to match your status. A woman, not a girl. I leave this in your great hands, Nathaniel. Yours, ever-loving Modesty. P.S. I hope the peacock is well.
Awesome. You can tell it's serious because letters have started getting postscripts. So yeah, does anyone have a thought for their second epistolary scene?
I'm trying to figure out if I should have a weather interlude, but I think I need to think about it a bit more.
part of me wants there to be a letter from Abigail to Lemster saying, I want to hear your side of all of this. Of course, it's probably not here. I don't know if that's really a valid target for a letter in the epistolary phase.
I mean, if you're still interested in like narrating it for our benefit, then by all means. But otherwise, we can just assume that, you know, if it's more just setting something up for next time, we can assume it just happens off screen. It depends what you're interested in doing, really.
I think what I'll do instead is respond to Isaac's letter and in so many words say, dearest Isaac, you need not worry, for you have done nothing wrong by introducing me to Mr. Gracefield. I assure you that he did not confer any, then I pause and continue writing, intentional harm upon me. Rather, it appears that his past, as is the case with so many of the men in this community, is catching up to him, and old ghosts and skeletons and other ghouls of a most satanic disposition are beginning to come out of their respective closets. I do seek consultation with you regarding these matters, for I'm afraid the Reverend is only likely to offer condemnation, damnation, and probably references to the American nation, if I know him well. Please speak with me at your earliest convenience, Abigail Nash.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, I think I want to do a storm scene.
Awesome. Yeah. So for storm scenes, it's passion or outrage. The scene is rash action that breaks from previous behavior.
Yeah, I think there's an unseasonable thunderstorm. It's been maybe it's been a few hot days, and there's thunder rolling in, and Nathaniel is standing on the balcony of the manor house, and he's watching the lightning in the clouds and speaking to himself. It seems my past mistakes are here to ruin everything for me. These clergymen and my sanctimonious sister are doing everything they can to prevent or everything that I want to accomplish. I set out just wanting to unite our two families, but now it seems that even the opportunity for genuine affection will be stolen from me. But no, I can't have it. I must do everything I can to overcome this. And he runs inside and goes to the stable, saddles a horse, and rides off towards the Honeyfield estate, while the rain is pouring down and lightning thunders.
That's
And
great.
I think that's a setup for a future scene.
Yeah, I want to jump in and use I'm writing a letter on the same night. and it's Eva just and her entire room's turned over. Like you can imagine, all her bedclothes are everywhere, and everything's out. She's writing, tears down her face. Reverend, I've made a terrible error. The letter, that evidence, I have misplaced it. I do not know where it is. I do not know in whose hands it could be. I ask, what was this a test upon me to see if I would go and try to find information to blackmail my brother? Like, what fitting a punishment this is for my hubris and arrogance? That I thought I could, I opened the box and everything has come out. It is now beyond my control. I do not know what I do. This is not, this is not what I wished in any way. Or is it what I wished? Or is it what you wished? Tell me, Reverend, what did we wish here? I do not know. I feel that the Lord himself is punishing me. And I fear he is right. So I do not fear, I do not fear his judgment. No. And then she pauses and crosses it out. And just leaves it then. Yours, she sends that off with that. I do not fear his judgment, just crossed out. Yours, Eva. And then she returns to see if she can try to find the letter, trying to find the letter some more.
Awesome. I'm sorry, I'm still thinking who I. I think I'm actually going to yeah, I think I'm going to write a letter to Florence, and I think that the letter will say, dear Mrs. Honeyfield, I am writing with regards to the well-being of your niece. I am aware that a certain gentleman has perhaps expressed his intentions towards her. I do not wish to speak ill against him, but some of the rumors I have heard have been distressing, and I just wish to ensure that her well-being is as it should be. I hope that the rumors I have heard are nothing but idle gossip, but I would never have presumed to make my suit towards Lady Nash it would seem her family is above my station, and it would not be appropriate. But I wish it to be known that should, for whatever reasons, it be necessary to secure a match for her, I would be more than willing to do so. Though, as I say, I do not wish to. I would not think to ask this for my own ends. I pray that all is well with Lady Abigail and with your family. Yours sincerely, Isaac. Cool. So I believe that is everyone having delivered two epistolary scenes now. So we will move on to our next novel chapter. So again, I feel like probably some visitation scenes are the order of the day here. So we'll just kind of get some individual scenes between people, between as many people as we want, obviously, as ever. But so yeah, I guess does anyone have a scene they would like to start off with?
Nathaniel has rushed off to see Abby. So I would be happy to play that out.
Yeah, sure thing. If that's cool with you, Abigail?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Yeah, so I think Nathaniel arrives probably late at night. It's still stormy and raining. He's soaking wet. He doesn't even have a hat on. It's extremely inappropriate. And he comes to the Honeyfield estate and knocks on the door and asks to be. I think he basically storms in and Abigail, is Abigail here? Where is she? I must speak with her at once.
I mean, the only other people, well, I suppose there would be servants who would direct you. I mean, I almost want to say that Abigail has taken off into the dead of night in a fit of just emotional melodrama. And so we have to have Nathaniel chasing her about the stormy moors in the dead of night or something like that.
Sure.
So one of the servants says, why, Lady Abigail left some 2 hours ago and hasn't been back since, but the storm is about to roll in. I mean, we were just about to go out and find her.
What? Where is she? She can't be out in this terrible weather.
Well, if you go, you had best hurry or take your horse or something. We don't have long before the rain begins to pour, and heavens knows what could happen to her if she's caught out in a thunderstorm of this severity, pointing out at the thunderheads that are quickly rolling in.
Oh, and with the terrible rumors about some dark figure out on the moors. This I must find her at once. And Nathaniel rushes out and leaps onto his horse and rides out towards the moors to look for Abigail.
So I think that Abigail is off some number of miles out on the moors with the wind blowing ribbons out of her hair, and she has all these lace and frills that are just being whipped about. Her hair is completely fallen apart. And, I think there are already the beginnings of little speckles of cold summer rain as the thunderstorm begins to really roll in. I think there is this sort of twilight appearance to everything, where everything is fundamentally very dark, but there are these little spots of gray twilight sort of sunbeams coming through these pockets in the clouds, just illuminating things enough that she can look up and see this great imposing silhouette of Nathaniel on horseback beginning to charge down the hillside toward her. And I think that she will freeze and clutch her hands to her breast as if protecting herself, and call out, "Nathaniel, is that you? Nathaniel!" And she's calling out across these lonely moors, and her voice is scarcely audible over the wind. But that's going to be where I think Nathaniel finds her.
Yeah, Nathaniel leaps off his horse and he rushes towards her, and then he stops like maybe 15 feet away, a bit too far to practically have a conversation, but he can't make himself approach her any closer. And Abigail, I can't believe you're out in this terrible weather. I came to the house to speak to you. Are you all right? Are you you're not hurt, are you?
I am safe physically, but my heart has been completely blown apart in this weather and in light of this news. Nathaniel, you must tell me, why didn't you make me aware of this before? Was it a threat to your own reputation? Was it a fear that I would reject you? Why wait until now that I have just begun to try to mend my ways and to renew my relations with your family? Why now to throw that all asunder?
Before I got to know you properly, setting aside that they don't really know each other properly, but now we're going with a romantic comedy thing. I admit that I was intentionally withholding this information in order to maintain an appropriate facade, as society would reject me like the same way it has rejected the rest of my terrible family. But now that my own feelings are starting to grow, I couldn't stand being dishonest with you. I hope that you can see beyond what I have done in the past and see that I am now trying to be a better man and find a way forward.
Nathaniel, it's not that I think you've done anything that begs forgiveness. It is the threat to my own family and to my own reputation should I choose to join with you. After all that has happened with my father and with my own petty conflicts with your sister, to join hands with you with these rumors circulating about would be the final nail in my coffin.
I understand. It's all too much. I shouldn't have presumed to that that you would tarnish yourself with a Gracefield name after everything. It's I fully understand that you cannot bring yourself to follow me in this, but please, at least let me escort you back to the house to safety. I fear you will catch your death out here.
I think this will be a kind of a turning point where Abigail kind of looks back on essentially all that trying to maintain her family's reputation has cost her. It's cost her, ironically, her own reputation going after Eva, and she is about to sacrifice her own desire for Nathaniel, and again, in the preservation of her family's reputation. And I think this might be kind of a dramatic, music swelling turning point in her character arc, where she kind of, in so many words, says screw it to her family's reputation. And so I think she will look kind of mournfully out over the moors and see Nathaniel beginning to back away. And I think she will just cry out, "Oh, Nathaniel," and throw herself into his arms and try to just kind of cling to him in this tear-stricken way as the rain begins to pour. And you can't tell if she's crying or not because, my God, she's just this mess of rain and crying and sobs. But she's thrown herself into Nathaniel's arms, I think, and is clinging to him desperately, trying to hold on to this one person who she feels is consistently nice to her, other than Isaac, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think Nathaniel, a bit hesitantly at first, but then he embraces her, and I think that's the scene.
That works for me.
Can I have a tiny grace note at the end?
Oh, yeah.
Just solely, it's one of those cross scenes. I want to do back at the house, and I want to give Nathaniel. Are you up for a token if I find the letter from Modesty? I just want to find. Yeah, I want to find her trying to blackmail you, that letter, and I just don't have Eva's response yet, but her finding it and just going, like, her seeing the scale of it and there's a level of horror to there.
Sure. If you want to give me a token, I will take a token.
Yes, we're going to break the thing if we.
I also want to offer Lady Abigail a token for having caught a chill whilst out on the moors, which is obviously almost certainly a death sentence in a Regency novel, but we'll see how that goes.
Having caught a chill, is that the equivalent of a cold, basically?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. At least it's not pneumonia or something. All right, that works for me.
I must say, I just realised, I don't think this goes to Nathaniel though, does it? Because it's a random event. It doesn't actually make Nathaniel's situation worse. Therefore, it doesn't actually happen to Nathaniel. Or is it like me finding a letter as a random would be, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily change Nathaniel's situation. Therefore, it's just goes into space.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it could go either way, to be honest. But I'd probably err in saying it goes to Nathaniel just because it's kind of information. It's kind of his personal effects that you're gaining knowledge of, essentially. So probably would, I would say, go to Nathaniel. But yeah, it's not necessarily detrimental. Yeah, but yeah, probably would go to Nathaniel, I think, in that instance.
I think I want to hear Eva monologue at this point. So let's see. Should my monologue token be checked or unchecked when I?
Everyone should have theirs of. So yes, checked means you've still got it, so you can uncheck it to. What's it? I think mine should be checked, but isn't.
Yeah.
Because we've not had any so far this cycle.
Yeah. I want to hear Eva monologue about her. Actually, I think her feelings towards Nathaniel at this point, because she's talking a lot about it, but I'm not sure we know what she really feels. You're muted.
So always trying to get into a pose of just being like, my hubris, my shame. Like, what have I wrought upon myself? Yes, here's the sheep who's wandered. Here's the prodigal son. But the prodigal son, it is trying to, is trying to act. Is acting towards the families and doing all this. And this wicked woman is trying to drag him down. And this wicked woman is me. And what difference bar carnal lust for him between her actions and mine? There is none. I've walked this path, under delusions of goodness. And a man, I've tried to drag a man trying to walk towards the light into the darkness whence he came. What monster am I? What must one do to make these things well again? I don't know. I do not know, but I must. That's the only option that lies before me. Is that enough? Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I've got it. Like, she looks through the garden windows. Oh, proud peacock, what a fool you are.
Excellent. Yeah, so were there other scenes people would like to see in this novel chapter? Yeah, I think I probably do want to call on Lady Abigail at some point following that letter, but also we just had a scene with Lady Abigail. So if someone else wishes to do something in the meantime, that is cool. If anyone else has any thoughts on the scene they would like to see,
I feel I'm okay, but I would love to see Isaac call on a bedridden Abigail, if Abigail was up for another scene.
That's fine with me. I just went, so if anybody does want to go ahead, then that's fine. I have to step away for just a few minutes soon anyway.
Yep.
But if we want to go ahead and play out the scene between Isaac and Abigail, that's fine too.
Yeah, sure thing. That is cool. I was going to say, actually, we have overrun on our sort of next break a bit. So if we want to take a break now, or if you want to wait a few minutes, then we can take a break when you need to head off. That's cool.
Either way is fine. If it's better for you to just go call it here, that's fine. Otherwise, we can play out this scene first.
Yeah. No, I'm good to take a quick break now if everyone's good with that.
Okay,
so yeah,
we'll like 5.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So see you all back in about 5 minutes time. Cool. So yeah, I think with that said, we will dive into a scene with Isaac, being shown up to Lady Abigail in her sick bed, as it were.
So is this the following morning, are we thinking, or what time of day is it?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe kind of like mid-morning sort of time.
Got it. So I think I almost want to give the estates just this almost funereal gloom about it, even though that is way overstating how big of a problem this actually is. So I think there is this very restrained, almost grieving quality to the servants as you enter. Right this way, Mr. Arkwright, of course, so good of you to come, yes. Lady Abigail sends her regards and has been eagerly looking forward to see you. Please step this way. And there is this very made up bedroom where she has countless blankets, quilts, and other linens sort of piled upon her. And her hair is pulled back and she has this sweat about her, but is otherwise completely fine. And she looks up at you with this very overdrawn expression of pain that is wholly inaccurate, and says in just the most pitiful, hoarse whisper, Isaac, come closer. Is that you?
Yes, Abigail. You seem most unwell. Is there anything I can do for you?
Please, just sit at my bedside. Your presence is therapeutic enough as it is.
Yeah, and Isaac will take a seat next to the bed.
I sort of take your hand in a holding on to you for strength kind of way. The doctors say I am likely to recover, ideally in full, but how long it will take, no one can say. It might be a week, it might be this evening, but it is truly difficult to predict.
Yes, you. It sounds like you are quite afflicted. What happened? Are you? What brought this illness on?
Isaac, rumors about Mr. Gracefield. I am afraid. I cannot bear to say it, but I am afraid they are true. And I am deeply troubled and concerned for the cost this might incur to my own reputation and that of my family should I choose to marry him. Oh, but he's such a good man, Isaac. He is a good man.
He had impressed me as such, but well, after the other day, I confess I wondered if I had perhaps put my trusts into the wrong man.
You need not worry about his trustworthiness. I wish only to assess what must be done to protect me. Should I join my hands with his in the bond of matrimony, I need to know how to weather the so-called slings and arrows of persecution, of gossip, and all manner of other dreadful things that I am certainly to endure should I choose to marry this man. What can I do?
Well, Abigail, I do not. In truth, I do not know the best way to deal with such matters. I would hope that all could recognize your grace, and that they would not think any the worse of you for your choices or the actions of your husband, but I do not know there is truly a way to stop the chattering of gossips.
Then I ask only from you a promise. Promise me, Isaac, promise me that you will be at my side no matter what happens. I cannot bear to lose you, not after you have been away all these years, not after you have been there for me through so many ups and downs over the course of the time we have known each other.
Of course, Abigail. I would be happy to be by your side for all time, if need be. I obviously not in place of your fine husband, but
can I offer Isaac a token to have to suddenly feel significantly more jealousy than he was thinking?
Yeah, sure. I'll go for that.
You're just such a sweetheart.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think Isaac will say, unless, of course, I know I am not so dashing a man as Mr. Gracefield, but at least I could offer you stability and a freedom from scandal. I would hope. I of course, I appreciate that I am, but the humble son of a tradesman, but know that if it were for your protection, I would be willing to do whatever you required of me.
I think at this point, I'd like to invoke the rumor that Lemster and Isaac had a torrid affair. And since Abigail has heard this, maybe she's not so willing to listen to believe that Isaac is as upstanding and stable as he claims to be.
So mechanically, how does that play out? Do you cross that rumor off and
I think Isaac gets the token. I'm not sure which one of you. I think this would be Isaac gets the token because it's bad for him. But
I think actually it would probably be Abigail in this situation, okay, because you're essentially influencing her perception, even though it is potentially adversely affecting me. It's Abigail's perception that you're looking to influence, essentially.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I think it could go either way, but I think that's what I'd say in this case.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sure.
You should get some compensation for someone telling you what your character is feeling.
Got it. So I think that in that case, my brow grows from sort of pensive and oh woe is me to a bit more concerned and skeptical. But Isaac, if you'll forgive me for even hinting at the slightest questioning of your motives, I have heard that you too have a past with this same man, Mr. Marwood. Is this true for you as well, Isaac? Have you too tasted the forbidden fruit?
You mean that Nathaniel and Lemster? Oh my, that's... I had no idea. I mean, if the rumors are to be believed.
So out of character, the rumor that was invoked was that Lemster and Isaac had a torrid affair, right?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, yes, that was kind of because I think up until this point, Isaac wasn't aware of exactly what the rumors about Nathaniel were.
Oh,
so yeah.
I would let that slip.
Yeah.
Awkward.
No, I can assure you that my interactions with Mr. Marwood have been only of the most upstanding and above board. We have been engaged in manly pursuits together, such as fencing.
I wonder if is that convincing to Abigail, do you think?
I am happy for it to be either way.
If you give her a token,
I was about to say, it's not spend the token convincing her, is it?
Yeah, no, tell you what, I'm going to invoke my loyal friend reputation tag to maybe say that perhaps Lady Abigail does trust Isaac in this, or does think the best of him in this situation.
That would do it.
Yep.
That would do it. Does that pull another token in?
I believe that you would gain a token from that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm chasing after Nathaniel on the token chart.
Yeah, I was just about to offer you offer you another token, one of my own, to but I think it kind of goes against trusting Isaac. I don't want to undermine the but yeah, actually let me I'll try this. Maybe Abigail is starting to realize that proper society is kind of a facade, and there is all sorts of things going on behind it, and nearly everyone has some sort of more or less scandalous secrets. Is that okay?
That works for me, sure. So in that case, I think I don't know what else Lady Abigail really would have to say to Isaac other than to simply squeeze his hand reassuringly and say, Isaac, I am truly blessed to have had you at my side all of these years, to see me through these storms, these pits, these peaks. It is truly a blessing to have you in my life, and I hope only that I can be a good enough friend to you in return.
Of course, Abigail, I have always cherished your friendship, and I hope to do so for many years to come.
Delicate, effeminate coughing. That works for me, unless there's anything else in your end.
That's good for me. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
I think could Tabitha catch Isaac just as he's leaving?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just very briefly. Oh, Mr. Arkwright, are you here to? I understand you're here to call on Abby. She's very sick. It's terrible. I hope I hope she'll survive. But I'm sure the doctors are doing the best they can.
Yes, and your cousin has a strong heart. I have no doubt she will overcome this this malady. Of course.
She's. I've always admired her strong constitution and dignity in such terrible suffering. But to another matter, I'm afraid my mother claims to have misplaced the book. I was hoping to have you assist me in translating into something I can understand, but perhaps we could arrange for some other reading together at some point?
Of course, I could. I will be happy to help you with some conjugations and the like.
Oh, that would be wonderful. You just have to explain to me what they are first. But I'm sure you'll prove a very talented teacher.
Well, thank you. But of course, we shall have to. I can show you the at least the basics. I am perhaps a little rusty since my school days, but I'm sure the principles are still there.
Oh, I'm sure. And I think she's kind of sidling up to him and maybe even touching his arm a little bit. And clearly not thinking of Abigail at all right at this moment. I hope maybe if you call on Abby again tomorrow, maybe perhaps we could also set aside some time to educate me in these dead languages.
Of course, and I think this is probably the point where Isaac starts putting pieces together. But I would of course be happy to call on you, Tabitha, if you would be willing to receive me, of course.
Oh, I wouldn't want to tear you away from Abby. I know how close friends you are, but of course, if you wish, I'm always I always have time for you.
That is very kind of you to say, Tabitha. Perhaps I will. I will be able to revise some of my old notes tonight and have a have a lesson prepared for you for tomorrow.
That would be wonderful. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's good with me. Cool. So we're at 20 past now. We probably won't go into the epistolary phase this time, because I think we'll be a bit tight to do that. But does anyone have any last scenes they want to do for this novel chapter? Cool. In which case, we'll go into our reputation phase, just to tie things off. So again, just check through. Eva, do you feel like you have done anything to gain or lose reputation this time?
No, I mean, she obviously didn't really have a scene, but I don't think even in the sort of micro scene she did enough either way. It's kind of like, to be honest with what she does next it's one of those things that I was thinking that obviously I have things planned for the epistolary section, and she can't lose reputation for stuff she does in the epistolary section. It's a very weird quirk of the game, especially how we're playing it. But no, I've got nothing.
Yeah, sure thing, no worries. Nathaniel, how about yourself? Do you feel like you have gained or lost? Oh, well, sorry, I keep saying gained or lost. That's why I think in my head. Have you done anything to get positive or negative reputation in this last section of scenes?
Yeah, I acted in contravention of society's conventions, rushing out into the storm and everything. That's definitely. But I don't think anything else.
Yeah, I think that's fair. As for myself, I don't feel like I've gone one way or the other this time. I don't feel like I particularly made a sacrifice one way or the other. No, I think that's I think I'm probably fine where I am at. And yeah, Abigail, how about yourself? Do you think that you have gained positive or negative reputation in these last scenes?
I think I could justifiably say no to either. I mean, I guess you could make an argument that there's a negative tag that I went with Nathaniel anyway, given his reputation.
Yeah, that is. I'd say potentially there a negative one. If I think that's yeah, I'd say that's fair.
I mean, embracing a man you barely know, I think.
Yeah,
I mean?
exactly. It was a bit a little beyond the pale there, but yeah.
Okay, I'll go ahead and put down a negative.
I think if you're cool with that, then yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so yeah, as I say, I think we will leave things there because we're at 25 past, so that is probably a good place to leave things for this evening. It means we will have the epistolary phase and this upkeep round next week. The next week's will be like the next our final cycle is a little bit truncated anyway, as we don't have the rumor and scandal phase or the second reputation phase. We basically go straight from the second novel chapter into an epilogue. So I think we should be in a good place to kind of move things along fairly promptly next time. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. That's been a lot of fun. I'm going to stop our recording now.